Welcome to this morning's presentation for Vagaro, and this is the third in a sequence of 3 webinars we've done on customer service, and it's sort of what we call the guest path experience, following the yellow brick road.
Thank you, Kayla.
And today is the final in our series. It's about closing the sale.
And follow-up.
Yes, and of course,
Two things that go hand in hand, I think.
They do, don't you think?
Yeah.
Catherine and I are the 2 blondes. Of course, you can see, this natural progression of blonde. And we are the profitable salon owner. And we are working on making salons profitable fast, right? So, and one of the things that we really believe is that, you are attending this webinar. So it tells us that you're interested in your business and in making your business move fast. Now, customer service is the most important thing that you can offer. In fact, it is everything that you offer.
It really is. It really is your brand.
It is.
Because that is gonna define you.
It is. And if you do what we tell you to do, you'll be great.
Simple steps.
Simple.
Yeah.
And today, in closing the sale and the follow-up, this sort of sums everything up, and it sets you up for success. You follow all the steps and then do these things. You will set yourself up for success for the future. Okay? So closing the service.
So far, so good.
Yeah, that about sums it up.
So if you've been following the customer path, you have
follow the yellow brick road.
Well, that's basically it. Follow the yellow brick road. If you've been following the customer path that we've been laying out over the last couple of webinars, you already have been educating your client as you progress through the service.
Yes.
It's the what you're using, why you're using it, and the benefit to their hair or their skin.
And if for some reason that you haven't caught up on the last 2 webinars, go back into the Vagaro library and check them out, because the 3 webinars go together.
Yes, absolutely.
And we're trying to really cover in depth every single moment that you have a client in your at your station.
Yeah.
So
and last time we talked about the art of consultation, which if you do a great consultation, it just should take you seamlessly into closing the sale. And I mean, really, Aileen, I think this is always because you've been in sales your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
This has really been where most people, they may do everything really well till this point, and then what stops them?
And I think we've nailed it here. It's fear. It's all of a sudden the discomfort comes in, because now we're actually going to close the sale. Now, how many times have we talked to service providers, and so many of them come and say, well, I'm not a salesperson.
Oh, all the time.
And to be honest, you are a salesperson. The moment that we are in services, we are salespeople. Whether you are in food service and you're asking for do you want fries with that or whatever? McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that my daughters throughout university, they worked in the service industry as wait staff, and their most important thing was getting add-on services to add to the food menu.
Alcohol or dessert?
Exactly. Well, let's go with the alcohol. No question there. So we're all salespeople, and it's essential that we learn how to be comfortable with asking closing questions. And we really believe that if you have followed our guest path, you will already know that education and teaching your clients is part of the sales process. So by the time you get to this closing part, it's a really easy segue into putting the whole package together.
Mm-hmm. And we always talk about the 1,000-pound cape. Yeah. And that's great if you're a stylist, don't take the cape off until you have gone over everything that you have talked about.
It's kind of a mental thing, because the moment you take the cape off, your service is over. But as long as you've got the cape on, then they're still engaged with you. So we want
a captive audience.
They're a captive audience, right? Keep your hands on their shoulder, press them down into the chair.
Just don't take the cape off. And same in the, in the skincare room. Just one thing we always did was if you have a lounge, go back to the lounge with the client and sit down with them while they're still wearing their robe and talk to them about exactly what it is that you've used. Follow up on your education.
Yeah, and I think that we have to share this story because I think it really says a lot about the language we use when it comes to closing the sale. Years ago, and Catherine, I'm going to turn this over to you because it's my favorite one, Veronica. Your Russian.
Oh no, Victoria.
Yes. Because the language is everything. So please share this little vignette story.
And I say that I tell this all the time because I think it so accentuates the point that we're trying to make here. Victoria, lovely Russian woman, stylist at one of my locations, and I was having a meeting with her and we were going over her numbers and how she was doing. And she says, Catherine, she said, I can't get them to rebook. And I said, well, why? And she's, I asked, but I can't get them to rebook. And so I said, okay, so I'm here today. So I'll kind of just keep my ears open when you're checking out your clients, and I'll see if I can put my finger on it. So sure enough, she definitely asked for the rebook. But her question was, would you like to rebook or no? And so she answered the question for them.
In a negative way.
So you don't phrase it. You don't frame the question like that. So Aileen?
Well, and here's the thing is that I really believe the most dreaded words in a salon or spa are, do you want to buy some shampoo or do you want to rebook? Because it's asking a closed question and it's not guiding your client to where you need to be. So Catherine and I really believe that, again, going back to the educating the client, is to tell them it kind of wraps up your service. So, Catherine, today we've created this lovely short haircut for you, but you will find that it'll start to lose its shape in about 6 weeks. So my recommendation is that we book your next service in that 6 to 7 week period. Now,
great.
I'm starting to book in the week of May the 15th. Is the beginning or the end of the week get best for you?
Probably, this is a good day for me. So probably closer to the end of the week.
And morning or afternoon?
I prefer the afternoon.
And I do have openings at either 1 or 3. Which one would work best for you?
1, I believe.
Great. We're going to see you on da-da-da-da-da-da. So all we've done is guided our client to where we want them to be, whether it's color, tell them what to expect with their style or their color or their facial or whatever, and then guide them to where you want them to be, right? And believe me, you're putting a fence around your clients, but they will be so grateful because they're being taken care of. It shows concern.
Absolutely.
You're linking with them.
And the other question that you said that is probably one of the
most dreaded words in the salon. Do you want to buy some shampoo? No.
Yes. You never just say, do you want to buy some shampoo? These are the products that I used on your hair today, and these are definitely what I recommend that you use at home. Now, I have, Aileen and I both consulted in salons for many years. And one of the things that really worked, I found, was to take at least three products, put them on the station or at the front desk, however you work it out, put them there and said, these are the products, because they're sitting right there. Put one of those products in their hand so that they have some connection now to the product. And then that's all you have to say.
And sometimes, like a client might say, I can't afford, 3 products. Out of all the products that we've used today, the one that I would recommend that you take home first is this one, because da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's all in the language, and it's actually very, very easy to use.
Yeah. So but it's habit. We have a habit of, repeating what we're comfortable.
Exactly. And you can hear it roll off Catherine's and my tongues, the same phraseology, because we've been practicing for so long. Mm-hmm. And the same thing will be true for you. Just practice these words, practice with your client. And believe me, when we talk about discomfort, if the first time you use it, you might feel a little uncomfortable. The second time you use it, your comfort level will increase. And all of a sudden, honestly, try it for a whole day. Try it with 5 clients. And by the end of the day, you will be a pro at it. But what you are doing is you are creating a really strong client and service provider link. They will not go somewhere else if you are taking care of them.
No. And product sales are definitely linked to retention.
Oh, yes.
That is a biggie. Because honestly, what happens when a client goes home and they're using the wrong thing at home, and their hair is, or their skin is not performing the way they expect it, the first thing they think, it's not, I'm using the wrong product. The first thing they think is, well,
my stylist didn't do a very good job.
And it always happens. Now, you are going to get clients that say, oh, I have so many products at home, blah, blah, blah. And this is how I always set them up, is that's no problem. Use them up. But just know, and I always put my hand on their shoulder, just know if your hair isn't working for you, it's probably your product. Come on back and we will set you up with the correct product. Because what did we just do?
We just solidified the fact that, their style or their color isn't going to work well without using the correct products.
Yeah, or their skin.
Or their skin. And it could be another great professional product line, but who knows what it is? Who knows what they're doing with it and whether they're even using it correctly. The biggest problem is the incorrect use of product.
Absolutely.
So education is key.
Yeah, and the other big one that we always should try and get in at the end, at the close of our service, is to ask for a referral.
The most powerful tool in any service business is referral, and that's word of mouth advertising. And the key word here is to ask for a referral.
If you don't ask, you don't get. And that is, in a nutshell, that's exactly how it is.
And here's the thing, is people, when they belong to you, they want to share you. I can't tell you how many times somebody will even stop me on the street and say, oh, I love your hair. And, I always keep a selection of the cards from my stylist, Amy. And I am always happy to pass it on. And Amy's thrilled to get the business as well. But it's amazing. She does a fantastic job. I'm thrilled to share her. I get really excited when someone says, God, I love your hair. And what more could you ask for?
Yeah. And we've given you, a few questions here that you can practice with. And I think this is a big one. The first one we've said here. So it's just simply, Mary, I hope I met your expectations today. And you need to ask. Again, it's asking. Because we're hoping that we exceeded their expectations.
For sure. And I also really think that, when we talk about the consultation, we spend, especially when we're talking about new clients, and we've gone through this whole consultation process with them. And at the end, I think that we need to refer back to that.
Absolutely.
So Mary, today, when we started out, you said that you were looking to have this done, that done, yada, yada, yada. And have we met your expectations today? To fill that out just a little bit, because then it reaffirms that to the client that you have done what they asked for.
Yeah. And so many of us are afraid to.
Yeah. We're afraid to say, do you like this? And they go, ow. But no, if you've done a great consultation, they are going to say, yes, this is exactly what I was looking for. But if you've got a problem, guess what? You've got it right there in your chair and you know about it right off the bat.
Do not let somebody walk out the door
with a problem.
You think they are not happy.
Exactly.
You need to fix it.
And sometimes it's a callback. But, when you're working with your client, remember, we're putting a fence around our clients and that we want to work with them one-on-one. Okay, so remember this. I hope we met your expectations today.
And we did all the other ones. I'm going to move on because I know that we've got a lot to go over because the follow-up is going to be a lot. So I think we need to talk about the takeaways for the closing the sale part. The closing the sale really starts at the very beginning of the client interaction.
And that's true for any type of sales transaction. It always starts at the very beginning. So as I said, if you haven't watched webinars 1 and 2 on this guest path experience, go back and check it out because the whole thing goes together step by step. And if you follow the path, you will have an incredibly successful journey.
Absolutely.
As a service provider.
I mean, to me, closing the sale starts at the very beginning, the greeting.
Yes.
How you greet your clients. And that's in that's in the first video in this series. So think about that because it's all the way through. It's the progression. That's why we call it the guest path.
Yes.
Because it is a guest path. And then educate, don't sell.
Right.
So education is critical. You cannot expect to talk about the weather, politics, which I hate hearing spoken in the salon, or religion. I don't like any of those. But you can't expect to generalize and talk about other things the whole time if you haven't talked about what you're using, why you're using it, and at the very end say, oh, would you like something?
Again, exactly. And there's a way to ask them if they want something.
So
right?
It's education.
Exactly.
It's
if you've educated them properly, they will want to take it home. And when they take it home, they'll be thinking about you every time they use it.
Yeah.
Trust me on that one.
Yeah. So all the way through, educate, don't sell.
Right.
And for me, the consultation is where you make and break the whole transaction.
Here. That's the beginning of it. Because if you do it right and you do it well, believe me, they're not going to go anywhere else, because I'm going to tell you that probably 8 out of 10 stylists or service providers are not doing consultations. So set yourself apart. And remember, consultations are not just for first-time clients. They are for every single time a client sits in your chair. Not necessarily the full-length one, but it's a follow-up to the prior visit that you had with your client. So remember, follow-up is critical.
Yeah. And the what's in it?
What's in it for me?
Yeah. And it's all about what's in it for the client. I'm going to pass this one over to you because you're the great WIFM girl.
You're WIFM. I love WIFM. And WIFM works both ways. You know, what's in it for you as the service provider is a long-standing client, which means revenues, et cetera, et cetera. But what's in it for the client is a sense of satisfaction that they got what they wanted and they feel great. Who doesn't like to feel great?
And that's the operative word, is how they feel.
Exactly. Feelings.
And
song about it.
In the years that I have, in all the years that I've been consulting with stylists and owners, I have seen some amazing stylists whose client base isn't what it should be. Because they may be a prima donna, but they don't make their client feel phenomenal. And I've seen other stylists who are not the greatest. And I think I was one. I was a really good colorist. I wasn't the best cutter in the world, but I had a huge book because I made my clients feel special.
That you just nailed it.
Yeah. And that's why they came back. And they will always forgive you if you're not 100%. If you make them feel good and you are always willing to make sure that they are satisfied.
I just want to add a quick note to this. If you're an employer, remember, it's a heck of a lot easier to hire for attitude and then teach technical. It's a lot harder if you hire a great stylist and then try and teach them attitude.
No, it does not work.
Really take that into consideration.
Yeah, it absolutely does not work. I always hire for attitude.
Exactly.
Because most of the time, you can teach. You
can.
Sometimes.
And remember, it's harder to work with a bunch of turkeys when you should be soaring with eagles. I love that line. And of course, that last word, assume. I love the word assume, because if you do it wrong, you of course make an ass out of you and me. But if you've done your job properly, then you can assume that you've done everything right. Now, the two things that we do want you to assume on a regular basis, and that is that your client wants what you have. And that is the key to how you're going to phrase everything. Because if you assume that they want what you've got, then you'll talk to them that way. If you always talk to them with the idea that there's a no hanging out there, it changes your language.
Yeah, because they can feel your fear.
Yeah, exactly. Did I say there was two things you should always assume?
I don't remember.
Okay, well, good, because I can't remember what the second one was.
Just assume that they want what you have.
Exactly. Assume they want what you have.
That's the best thing. Don't be fearful. And that's what stops most of us is fear.
True.
At any stage in this progression, fear stops you. can't allow it to keep stopping you.
False evidence appearing real. Here we go.
And this is really, Vagaro makes it really easy for you.
Well, we're talking about the beginning of the sort of the follow-up.
Yeah.
And if you are lucky enough to be a Vagaro user, it's really your maid in the shade. But one of the things that Catherine and I have found in talking to stylists and owners is that they have this incredible program and they're not using it to the full extent of what it has available. You know, we all have a tendency to get lazy. And yes, they've got a great booking system, appointment calendars, reminders, etc. But there is so much more. And this is the beginning of it.
So this one is all about referrals.
Ta-da!
So makes it really easy. You can send these out. Thank you. Please accept these $20 gift vouchers for you and a friend as a token of our appreciation from us. How it couldn't be any simpler than that. Are you doing it?
Yeah, exactly. Are you doing it? Raise your hands, those of you who are doing it, and
are you doing it?
We'll start a little applause.
Yeah, it should be with every client. This is going out with every single client, because you will get some of your best customers from the people you already have sitting in your chairs.
That is so true. Now, remember, you know, we've talked before about how many clients you really need in your database to create a very successful business. And the numbers have not really changed a lot over the last how many years, Catherine? But around 250 to 300 clients are really all you need. Good clients are all you need to create a very, very good, solid business. And it's a heck of a lot easier just taking care of those 250 than it is taking care of the 1,000 that you would need if you're not taking care of that 250.
Because you're constantly on that hamster wheel trying to find new clients.
Exactly. Now, there's always going to be attrition. There's always going to be attrition. You know, people die, people get transferred, they move on, they get divorced, they lose their stylist in the divorce. Heard that a few times. And so the referrals do become really important because you're always having to make sure you've got that 250 to 300 in your base. So work it, work it, work it. You will not be sorry.
Yeah. And moving right along.
Sure. Easy to say.
So this is actually one of the things I use because in one of my businesses, we have hair loss and hair replacement center. And so this is all about, we take these out to salons in our area because we're not a salon. We are in some respects, but we are for people who are losing their hair. And this has been a really great way of finding clients because you're the people that deal with them all the time. So we get lots of referrals from salons and spas. So if you're a salon and you don't have a spa, team up with a spa and you can each refer.
Exactly.
You know, go to other stores in your area. There's so many things, you know, joint ventures. But if you have referral cards, they're going to come back.
They will truly come back. And there's another thing here too. It's called Maven marketing. And what it means is that you get other people to do your marketing for you. So the same way as you would take this out to a cooperating service, like, you know, spas to salon or whatever. But you could also say, take it to a dentist office and offer referral program to a dentist office. I mean, there's so many things that you can do. It's
referrals. If you don't have referral cards, please get some. Vistaprint is great. Make them up for you. But also, you know, you can send them out with your Vagaro system. But you need to have some physical referral cards to be able to take out and hand out to other businesses.
You got it.
So referrals are huge.
Yeah. Next.
Sorry, our system is very slow. This is my referral card that I use in my salon in Winnipeg. And it's We actually use the $20 off. I'm not a percentage girl. I don't like percentages, so we use the.
And I just want to touch on that, Kat, because I think it's really important. So many times we see in businesses going 25% off, 30% off, 10% off, but the consumer doesn't think in percentages.
No,
the consumer thinks in dollars. It may end up being the same amount of money, but $20 means more because it's money in the bank. 25% could be anything. Yeah. It's not concrete. So use dollar amounts rather than percentages. It's very strong.
And it sounds better because you can hand one of your clients 5 of these.
Yeah.
And say, here's $100. When these come back to me, you will have $100 in services, free services that I will gift to you. It's hard to say that with 25%.
It is. That's exactly right. But with your dollars, it's awesome, right? I know that, our nail technician, they have a program where, you get, I think it's five
visits and then you get
one free.
Yeah.
It keeps us coming back all the time.
Yes, it does. So referrals are, I believe, a very good way to get the kind of clients that you are looking for.
Yeah.
And the kind of clients that stick, because they almost come what's the word I'm looking for?
Pre-programmed.
Exactly, because they're being referred from one of your existing clients. They've also obviously loved her hair or skin.
Exactly.
So it's almost like they know you before they come.
Exactly. So the follow-up, where did your customers go? How many times have we heard this conversation? I haven't seen Mrs. Smith in the salon for 3 or 4 months.
You're right.
Yeah. I wonder where she went.
I have no idea.
Huh. Oh, well, so on to the next one.
So what does that tell me? You're not looking at client retention all that regularly, are you?
No, exactly. You don't have to lose these people. There's a way to follow up and get them back.
And once your client has walked out the door of your center or your salon, please don't just leave them out there hanging. There's so many things that you can do to follow up with them.
To catch them. Like, number one, right off the bat, is make sure they're happy with your service before they leave.
Yeah, and if they're not, you make sure that you have booked an appointment for them to come back so you can fix what they think is wrong.
The other thing, of course, is rebooking. Of course, rebooking is the best follow-up you can do right off the bat because it's right there and it's right now and you can see it.
And Vagaro makes that so easy for you.
Exactly, right? However, suppose they escape without making that rebooking. How do we follow up?
So lots and lots of different ways. There's so many different ways. So new client thank you letters. I'm not sure how many of you do new client thank you letters or emails, but I know that that is a capability in Vagaro. So that should be very simple for you to set it up. But sometimes it's just taking the time to set these things up. And it's so worth your time to spend a little bit of time and craft a letter inviting these clients to come back. And don't just send out a letter saying, thank you for coming in. Say, thank you for coming in, and here's a $20 voucher for your next visit.
Exactly. It gives them a reason to come back to you. If they haven't rebooked their appointment, they're potential floaters. So give them a reason to come back to you.
And then miss you letters. How many send out miss you letters?
I think I'd like to send out the Rolling Stones' Miss You song.
But again, if you're using your retention program properly, you truly should know the clients that you haven't seen. And it's easier to get one of those clients to come back to you because they already know you than it is to get a new client to come in. So don't be afraid to send out letters that saying we've missed you.
Yes, and we're on back.
And again, an offer in that letter to invite them to come back. And I think with miss you letters, your offer has to be a little more generous than even with new client thank you letters.
For sure, because usually a miss you, we're talking about 90 plus days often. So give them a real reason to come back to you.
And usually if they're not coming back, there was a problem.
Yeah.
So
exactly. So here's your opportunity to fix things, right?
Newsletters. Newsletters are a great way to reach out to your clients. I mean, you can put it up on Facebook.
Well,
You can send it out with email. And
right.
then again, Vagaro makes that easy for you.
Well, and let's take a look at what newsletters actually do, because how do we stay in touch with our clients when they're not in the salon or spa, right? So newsletters are a great reminder. I found that what has happened, though, is that salons will get really on board with sending out newsletters, and they'll send out one or two, and then they lose track, and a couple of months will go by, and sometimes maybe it'll go out on the 15th of the month, and then a couple of months later it'll go out on the 3rd of the month, and there's no consistency. The important thing is to create a consistent pattern. So it's, put it in your day timer or on your calendar or whatever, but be consistent.
And it doesn't
stay
have
in
to
touch.
be, it doesn't have to be a 4-page newsletter.
Oh gosh, no.
It can just be a little
blog.
A little blog, kind of newsy about what's going on in the space.
Yeah.
If somebody's been away for education, that's a great thing to put in there.
New products.
Yeah. Share a recipe.
Yeah.
People love recipes. We do that on our Facebook page a lot, and we get a lot of hits on those things.
Yeah. And you can even use, like the vlogs and the YouTubes as your newsletter, make a little,
absolutely.
Make a little
you don't
YouTube
need to do
video.
both.
Yeah.
But if you're better with your camera, and we all have pocket studios because we all have cameras that we can quickly do a little Facebook Live video or YouTube video, just, basically saying what you would say in the newsletter.
Yeah. And it makes it really fun. Because you're animated and they can see your face.
And video is getting way more hits than anything else.
It does.
And short videos, keep it to under a minute and a half.
Yeah, tops. 30 seconds to 60 seconds are really, really key. And you'll be amazed. It does not have to be professional. It just has to be engaging.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, you're reaching out and touching them. You're keeping in touch with them. Birthday cards.
Yes. And again, at Vagaro, you have an opportunity to collect all this information, and it's going to pop up on your Vagaro system. Yeah. Use it. Once you put these systems in place, it's really, really easy to do. It's sometimes, it's a little bit to get all this stuff started, but once you do, it's so easy to follow up.
Yeah.
So easy.
And Facebook.
I don't want to hear any excuses.
We all make excuses. We're good at that. And Facebook posts and contests. Eileen, you're really good at that in your other business.
Yep. Can't live without it.
And, I think you've been very successful.
It has.
Doing
it's really
Facebook posts and contests.
And because again, but Catherine, like we say, do what you do best and hire for the rest.
Right.
So, I have hired a social media person to do, digital marketing. And in fact, we are going to bring this person into a webinar with us one day, so that so that she can share with you some of the hints, et cetera, on how to run a Facebook and social media campaign.
Well, just I will tell you, in my hair replacement business, our wig business in the first 2 months of the year went down.
Yeah,
fairly significantly. It was where did everybody go type of thing. And then we started doing more ads on Facebook. I cannot tell you how much traction that has given us.
Yeah.
It has been crazy. And we, all of a sudden, and it's all to do with these, because I have them message me for information, and the amount of messages that I have been getting from people has been really quite significant. So Facebook ad. That's how I did that.
And we can
and we'll talk about that when we do the social media.
And when we do social media, we can talk to you about how to organic growth versus paid growth, and the difference and how they can work synergistically together. So Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, all of these fall under the social media campaigns, and they are all important. Now, one of the great things too about Vagaro is that they also have some great posts out there, and you can easily share some of their stuff.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah, but you have to go on, and you have to be willing to,
spend a little time.
Not do it once a week.
Yeah.
You have to be on there fairly regularly.
Yeah.
And one thing I love, because when we talk about asking, closing the sale and asking.
Yes.
Well, this really ties into that.
Surveys.
Ask your clients how you are doing.
On a regular basis. Mm-hmm. And if you're an employer, Ask your employees how you are doing.
Totally.
Getting customer feedback and employee feedback will tell you a heck of a lot about your business, what needs to be fixed, what you can do to get cracking, and they're simple to do.
Once a year, we survey our staff in our big location because we get valuable feedback from that. So, and it's just, how are we doing? What could we do better? It can be simple things, but it really behooves you to try and reach out to clients and get them to tell you, because you go into your business every day and you become immune to things. You walk in the door and you truly become immune to what's going on around you.
You absolutely start to miss the fingerprints on the glass or the fact that your coffee tastes. I mean, there's so many things. Ask and get the feedback.
Because they'll tell you.
They will. Surprisingly, monthly promotions are a great way to follow up because, you know, using it in newsletters or having little tent cards around your salon or whatever, it gives them a different look.
Instagram posts can be all about your monthly promotions. Again, it's just keeping everybody in the know, keeping them, you know, connected to you. And it's connection. It's all about connection.
It is.
That's really what you want to do. And something that was really, really, really helpful for us is client callbacks, random client callbacks.
Yes. That's a fantastic point, Kath.
And have somebody call, because I will tell you, it's really hard. Your stylists or estheticians are usually not going to want to be the ones to call. If you have a client who is great on the phone, offer them free services if they will do your client callbacks. That's what we did for years.
Yeah. And it works. I mean, all these things work, right? It's just a question of putting them into place.
Absolutely. So moving right along, but so slow. So here's an example of a miss you letter. And
I feel awful.
It's true. And it's a series. We use these. This is a series of 3 letters. I feel awful. Did we do something wrong? Dear blah, blah. I'm concerned. Is everything okay? So you go on to ask them. I will tell you, we get so much feedback from this. I've had clients call and go, no, you know, I lost my job and I just haven't had money, but I haven't gone anywhere else. I will be back. Or, you know, somebody called from out of town to say we have moved. So they get these letters and it's really interesting. But if you may get, so you send out 20, if you get 5 clients back from these letters.
That's huge.
It is huge.
Yeah.
But again, it just shows you care.
Yeah, exactly.
And
again, it's a part of a system that you're putting in place for follow-up. Yeah. So you're going to do this on a regular basis and you will be surprised. But believe me, it's a heck of a lot cheaper to get that client coming back than it is to go after.
But again, this is a series of 3 emails that we send. We don't, or physical letters. We don't just leave it to one, because sometimes, you know, people get it, they put it down. So the next one says, I still feel awful. And we keep going on that theme because again, it's just a reminder.
And, you know, and we've seen some really cute versions of the same things. I love the doghouse one.
The doghouse, yeah.
You know, I'm in the doghouse because I, you know, didn't follow up or whatever. So, I mean, there's all sorts of, remember, people love humor. And if you can make them laugh or smile or whatever, you go a long way to pulling that client back to you.
Yeah. And here's one of our satisfaction questionnaires.
Exactly.
So, you know, this is what we send out to our clients after they've been in for an in-salon treatment for hair loss. And you can just create one. Don't need to have this many questions. You could have like 7 questions on it.
Heck, you can have 3 questions on it.
You can have 3 questions on it.
The important thing is that you're asking.
And that really is what it is. Yeah. It's that you are actually interested and asking.
And surprisingly, people are not upset that you've asked them. In fact, they are really pleased to be asked.
Totally.
So use it.
Use all of these things are part of the process. And reaffirm that the decision to buy from you was the correct decision.
Now, I have a tendency to sing and dance in the weirdest situations.
Don't.
So don't do that. You can be professional, but you know, and here's the thing: we were talking about follow-up, because once your client has bought your services, don't forget about them. Yeah. Right? Because that's the thing, is all of this is all about staying in contact with your client and keeping your fence around them, letting them know that they are important to you, that they are part of your business family, right? And it is so important. And in doing that, they will truly reaffirm that the decision they made to be connected with you was the correct decision. It's when we let them wander away from us that they start to think, well, I guess I'm not that important to Susie Q or whatever.
It's just, they just have the opportunity. I think rebooking is one of the biggest things. Because if they're rebooked, they have to make a point of calling to change their appointment or cancel it. And yes, you are going to get clients that just don't show up. But I mean, Vagaro is amazing at sending out reminders, text message, email. You know,
there's no excuse.
And more than once. Yes. So you will get those people that just don't show up, but you know what? For the 1 or 2 people that do that, all the other people that you've rebooked and come in, it is so worth rebooking every client.
And again, you know, having touch points between visits, same thing, it's staying in touch. And finally, Catherine.
Yes, Aileen.
The last line. It's your big line. We've been practicing for months. You're on stage. Here it is. Go.
Follow up, follow up, follow up. Follow up is the holy grail.
It is the holy grail of our business. If you're not following up, your clients are falling off all over the place.
Yeah, I truly believe it doesn't matter what you do. If you drop off at the end, then so are your clients.
That's what it's all about, right? Truly take to heart these 3 webinars, put into practice. Yes, it takes some time to develop systems, but if you stick to it and bring your systems into play, you will be so grateful, because first of all, it makes your daily life so much easier. But I gotta say, you are guaranteeing your future success. Yeah. You're absolutely guaranteeing.
And do one thing at a time.
For sure.
And really, Vagaro makes it really easy, because you can set up and send out the referral right after your client leaves. You've got the thank yous going out to your clients after you leave. And I do believe that there is a follow-up email going out with everything that Vagaro can do to help you with these steps. So you'll be receiving that. So it's just putting it into play, one thing at a time, and making sure that you're following through with them.
You got it. So we want to hear great things from all of you on your follow-up programs.
Yeah, it really does make such a difference. So some of the takeaways, and this is what I hear back from clients all the time. So never take your clients for granted. And that's when we have regular clients, we often will take them for granted. You should never take a client for granted. Your regular clients should be granted the respect of having them sit in your chair, or always do a mini consultation.
Yes.
You may not need to do a full consultation as you do with
first time,
but I will tell you, you always should do a mini consultation to find out if everything was okay. So be thankful for each and every client.
You got it.
Yeah. Think outside the box and go the extra mile for your clients.
There's no traffic jam on the extra mile.
No, there is not, because not everybody is doing it.
I think this next one is incredibly important. Listen to what your clients are saying. Never presume or assume. Listen. Remember that old saying, you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. And what they are saying is the most important thing. So always remember to feedback what you hear from them to make sure that you are on the same track as your client. Can't say it enough.
And always put yourself in the same playing field. Never, ever think you are more important than anyone else.
And, sometimes that's the hard thing because, we're often ego driven, especially, in the creative process, right?
In our world?
In our world, surprisingly, there are a few egos, just one or two.
Oh yeah.
No one that I can mention. No, not at all. But it is so true. Remember, I really believe that we get back what we give out. So if we give and give and give, we will get so much back. So remember to be a giver.
And communicate clearly. And that's something, communication is 9/10 of the world's problem.
Exactly.
And that's why I do believe consultation is absolutely critical. And in the Art of Consultation webinar, we talk about, repeating back. Mm-hmm. So you always have to say, this is what I think I heard you say.
Yeah.
Because communication is not very good. And we just had that, didn't we?
Oh, did we ever? We did. We sort of ran into a wee glitch even this morning, putting together our webinar. Catherine and I heard one thing, and but it wasn't really what was meant. So it's really important that we have this communication loop going on. And remember, everything is fixable, whether it's hair or communication or skin.
Yep.
Don't want to forget our estheticians in this, but everything is fixable. Be flexible and be kind, be loving.
And that's why the follow-up, because, you're not over communicating. In fact, we really need to do that.
Exactly.
And so
finally, and here we are, we have come to the end of our webinar. We would thank you so much for being with us today. We are the twoblondesales@gmail.com. And we are so grateful that you joined us today. We look forward to bringing more information to you next month and the months that follow. We're really excited about bringing our social media person to you as well. We're just not sure what date that's going to be. But anyways, we'll get back to you on that. We'll be following up on that.
Everybody have a great month, and please, please, please try and put at least one thing that we talked about, maybe two, in play, and you will make a difference.
That's right. Hey, 4 weeks to the next one. That's at least 4 changes.
There you go. One a week.
One a week.
All right.
Goodbye, everybody.
Have a great day.
Take care.